Good evening. The Philippine Navy reports a total of 49 Chinese ships in Philippine waters in June, the highest number in the first 6 months of the year. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 8, the Philippine Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, says the 49 Chinese Coast Guard and People's Liberation Army Navy vessels were monitored at Bajo de Masinloc, Ayungin Shoal, and Pag-asa Island from June 1 to June 30. Trinidad adds the 49 ships were in and out of the different areas. In Bajo de Masinloc, 9 Chinese Coast Guard and 14 People's Liberation Army Navy vessels ships were recorded. Meanwhile, 12 Chinese Coast Guard and 2 People's Liberation Army Navy vessels were spotted in Ayungin Shoal. The Philippine Navy also recorded 9 Chinese Coast Guard and 3 People's Liberation Army Navy ships in Pag-asa Island. According to Trinidad, they have no direct reference on the tactical implications as to why the number of ships increased in June. Trinidad says that a total of 31 Chinese ships were recorded in April, 35 in March, 9 in February, and 11 in January. When asked about the cause of the uptick in numbers, Trinidad says that possible factors include the weather, the deployment cycle, maintenance, and repair. The Department of Foreign Affairs has summoned Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Wang Shilian, to express the country's condemnation of China's sanctions against former Senator Francis Tolentino. In a statement read by Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro on Tuesday, July 8, the DFA says that it has conveyed to the Chinese government that while the imposition of such sanctions fall within China's legal prerogative, such actions were not aligned with the values of mutual respect and open communication that form the basis of relations between two sovereign nations. The DFA also emphasizes to the Chinese ambassador that the Philippines upholds freedom of expression. It adds that it is the mandate of senators and other elected officials to inquire on the matter of national and public interests. The DFA also reiterates its commitment to resolving differences through diplomacy and dialogue, saying that it looks forward to continued constructive engagement with China to promote mutual understanding. The Chinese government on July 1 imposed sanctions on Tolentino by banning him from entering mainland China, Macau, and Hong Kong. China's foreign ministry accused a handful of anti-China politicians in Manila of making malicious remarks and taking provocative actions on issues related to China. Meanwhile, Tolentino says he fully supports the DFA's decision to summon the Chinese ambassador to explain the reported sanctions imposed against him by the Chinese government. In a statement, Tolentino says that this action of China is not only an affront to Philippine sovereignty, but also to the dignity of every Filipino who stands for the country's national interest. Malacanang is urging former President Rodrigo Duterte's defense counsel, Nicholas Kauffman, to do better and focus on defending his client instead of proving his supposed unlawful arrest. Malacanang's pronouncement is in response to Kauffman's move seeking to submit to the International Criminal Court a Senate committee report, which he claimed would prove that the arrest of the former president was a form of political maneuvering designed to politically cripple Duterte's family. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 8, Presidential Communications Office Undersecretary Claire Castro says that instead of submitting a Senate committee report to the ICC, Kauffman should concentrate on defending former President Duterte.
For the fees he has allegedly been demanding from his client, former President Rodrigo Duterte, he should do better than that. He should concentrate on his defenses. He should concentrate on the allegations and admissions of the former president of his killings, and that he ordered the killings of some people in relation to war on drugs. And he also admitted that he will double the EJK killings once elected as a mayor. He should concentrate on that. That is supposed to be part of his defense for his client.
According to Castro, submitting the Senate committee report could even negatively affect Duterte's case.
Baka maging negatibo pa po sa kanila.
Bakit po?
Kung makikita po siguro ang pag-iimbestiga doon at makikita kung paano ito ginawa, siguro hindi naman po bulag ang ICC judges para makita kung ano ba talaga yung maaaring naging katotohanan dito.
Castro reiterates that the Marcos administration had no hand in the arrest of Duterte. Duterte is currently being held in custody at the ICC detention facility in The Hague, Netherlands. He is facing crimes against humanity allegedly committed during his administration's drug war. He was arrested at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport on March 11 and was flown out of the country on the same day. His confirmation of charges hearing is scheduled on September 23, 2025. The palace says that it is not concerned over reports that former President Rodrigo Duterte has lost weight during his detention inside the International Criminal Court detention facility at The Hague, Netherlands. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 8, Presidential Communications Undersecretary Claire Castro was asked to comment on the claim by Duterte's former wife, Elizabeth Zimmerman, that the former president is now skin and bones.
Sinabi niya na pumayat, yes, pero mukhang healthy, ayon sa kanya. At he's okay. Ang sabi pa nga daw ng dating Pangulo ay, you go home. I'm fine. I'm okay. So, at hindi na daw siya nag-take ng medicine. No? Parang maintenance. So, it's good for him, according to Ma'am Elizabeth Zimmerman. At yun din naman ang ibinalita ni VP Sara ng Vice Presidente kanina yatang umaga. So, saka mas maganda po talaga na natitignan naman po ang kanyang kalusugan doon mismo sa The Hague. So, hindi naman po pababayaan ang Pangulo, ang dating Pangulo doon.
When asked if Duterte's health condition is a cause of concern, Castro says,
Sa ngayon po, dahil mismo ang pamilya niya nagsabi na okay po ang Pangulo, ang kailangan na lang po siguro niya ay exercise.
Former President Duterte is currently under the custody of ICC. He's facing crimes against humanity charges allegedly committed during his administration's drug war. His confirmation charges of hearing is set on September 23, 2025. Vice President Sara Duterte is back in The Hague, Netherlands to visit her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is currently detained by the International Criminal Court due to crimes against humanity. In a chance interview at The Hague, Netherlands, Vice President Duterte says she arrived in The Hague on Saturday, July 5 and will be staying until July 23. The Vice President explains that she visited to maximize the additional visiting days granted by the ICC detention unit for her father.
So dito lang kami and kasi inaano namin yung 4 days a week na kasi yung bisita. So minamaximize namin yung grant ng detention unit na 4 times a week pwede bisita.
The Vice President says that her father appeared to be in good health, although he was becoming noticeably thinner.
Sobrang payat niya na hindi niyo pa siya nakita na ganito kapayat. Siguro nakita ko siyang ganito kapayat nung binata pa siya and sa photo, nung binata pa siya. Yung kanyang braso ay kalahati lang ng braso ko. So ganyan siya kapayat. But para sa akin lang he looks good na payat siya kesa sa yung ano siya, malaki ang tiyan, tapos parang unhealthy tingnan at mukhang nakakatakot para sa kanyang heart. So I like him this way, medyo slim.
Vice President Duterte last visited her father in The Hague in May. The ICC currently has custody of the former President Duterte after he was arrested and sent to The Hague for crimes against humanity he allegedly committed during his administration's drug war. The Philippine Navy says underwater drones could be deployed first before sending in divers in search of missing sabungeros in Taal Lake. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 8, Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, says sending underwater drones first before the divers is the typical way on how to rescue teams operate. Trinidad adds this also to ensure the safety of the divers. Trinidad even says that underwater objects could be retrieved without sending a diver. He explains that the moment they find the object to recover, they could attach the connecting points to it and lift the object without sending any diver. Trinidad maintains that sending down technical divers will be their last option. Trinidad notes that a technical diving team consist of 2 divers, one standby diver, and a diving supervisor. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla previously said the agency is planning to tap the technical divers of the Navy and Philippine Coast Guard to verify the accounts of Elias Totoy. Last June, Elias Totoy revealed in an interview with GMA News that the 34 missing sabungeros are buried in the lake. Trinidad reiterates that the Navy has yet to receive an official request of assistance from the Department of Justice. He says that once they get a green light, divers from Naval Special Operations Group, an elite unit of the Navy, will be deployed. The Department of Migrant Workers announces that 2 ships carrying a total of 38 Filipino seafarers were attacked by suspected Houthi rebels while sailing the Red Sea near Yemen. In a statement, the agency says 17 Filipino seafarers and 2 other crew members on board the Liberian flag vessel MV Magic Seas escaped an armed attack by a group believed to be Houthi rebels on Sunday, July 6. The agency notes that the rebels rowed in small boats and were carrying automatic weapons and a rocket-propelled grenade. Despite this, the rebels were repelled by the ship's security team, which was composed of 4 armed personnel. The Department of Migrant Workers says the crew were able to escape while the ship sustained damages. The crew were later rescued by a passing container ship. The agency reports the crew is now staying at a hotel in Djibouti, located in East Africa. In a briefing on Tuesday, July 8, Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Kakdak discloses that another ship, which is the MV Eternity Sea, was assaulted by Houthi rebels off the coast of Hodeida around Monday midnight, July 7, or early Tuesday morning. Hans says the bulk carrier was carrying 22 crew members on board. According to Kakdak, 21 of the crew members were Filipino seafarers. Kakdak notes that reports from international media say 2 crew members of the ship were missing while 2 others were wounded. However, Kakdak says they are still confirming the said reports. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.